know who he's facing. I cheese grade him, I get savage, that's the TNathan. No patience like they shut down the hospital. Wins against me, it's not possible, not probable. Man, it's all illogical. I've been sick, this shit is chronicle. Hands we hold them, the face shows how we fold them. Y'all keep making noise trying to get noticed. Y'all can't see me, you got no focus. I show up, they disappear. Hocus pocus, for no respect. When your pores come to sweat, when I call on already from 41 select. Target select, target acquisition. When them shells rain down, you look like a bad car collision. Come get it, come with it. I beat them into submission or play it safe and hit them from some distance. Long range, close range, however I deliver. Shit you gonna remember, I go for kill shots, not to injure. Man, these bars got no hold. Show them how to use the flow. Man, you can't move the flow. They stay pissed off, cause I'm pissed hard. I launch rocket raccoons, down to lift off.
Kills. Hit them with my missile, blow they spaceship the fuck up, decapitate, rush sick. Uh, ravish and rock rude. Disrespectful nigga, haka loopy, your pity food. Shit. Far from a small fry. Knuckle up, two black guys from black guys. Listen, man. Bus claims I don't miss. No game, long range, turn your dome to red mist. People on TikTok, face to face with rock, talk shit, you get knocked down. Damn. Conservative static, sight, picture, bus, rounds, hut, season, you silly rabbit. Tricks, kid. Act bananas, I will kill you when I step across city blocks, Daddy Rock, Godzilla. Face me, face to feet, hands and feet, turn your face to mince meat. Listen, yo, I'm not no hero. Forward, down, forward, high punch, grab spine, sub-zero. Can't forget about Robbie. Have him run into the cops crying. Brock just robbed. Damn, pussy. Street fighter with black fist. KO uppercut, bitch nigga.
Oh, all you can. All you can. Welcome. What's up? What's up? How y'all doing tonight? This is TNathan on this Thursday afternoon. No, this is evening, almost midnight some places. On this Thursday evening, and you're listening to Conversations with TNathan. Thank you for tuning in GCPR Network land. If you're listening to me wherever you're listening to me at, hey, I'm gonna have a way for you to drop me texts and emails shortly. Give me a minute, and then I'll be able to entertain your questions from around the world. The rest of you all watching me on all my social media platforms, thank you as always for joining us on this Thursday night when you could be doing a lot of other things. So thank you for tuning in as we have our social political commentary night that we talk about all things that are going on in the world today. So how y'all doing? Yay, what's up everybody? I can see your comments. I'm getting more comments. I'm getting it straightened out. Matter of fact, move comments to other side. there you go. And then hit mainstream. Uh, okay, multiple stream over there. I got comments here. What's up, K? Why? What's up, Eh, Kentucky? Yeah, KY, Kentucky. But how are we all doing tonight? How are we all doing? So tonight, oh, I had to make sure you all wasn't hearing any unnecessary um, in the background. I was like, I heard something. Okay, so it's all good. Welcome, welcome to another night. I am really enjoying this. This is my third week of my podcast radio show on the GCPR network, and I am really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying myself with the access, and I am enjoying conversating with you all about family here, of, about all the things that you all want to talk about when it comes to social, political, economic, and all the questions associated with where are we and where do we go from here. And as you all know, my show is from an unapologetically black perspective. And as long as we understand that, hey, we don't have any problems. I do cuss. That's why I have a nighttime show on GCPR Network, so I don't run afoul of the FCC because I cuss. I cuss a lot. So tonight, I want to get some opinions, right? I have some stuff we're going to listen to, and I want us to know, you know, I want I want you Republicans to come get your boys. All right. And I want to say this, right? I want to say this and I want people to understand. Uh, Donald Trump, Republican, mediocre white men, they are not strong men. They are just weak men's idea of what strong men look like. That's what I want you all to understand. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, these are not strong men. These are just mediocre white men that are the image that other mediocre white men have of what strong men look like. That's why he's scared to debate Kamala Harris right now. You all remember, and this is what I say. See, now my critique of the debate is going to be valid to the same people that said it was invalid last time. Because I'm not changing it. I'm just putting a different connotation on it with Kamala Harris. You know, Donald Trump was itching for the next debate with Joe Biden. He was itching for it. It was anytime, any place. It was on ABC. The other one was on CBS, and we were all good. We were itching for it. And when I critiqued it, everybody was like, "Oh, the debate doesn't matter, right?" Yeah. Anyway, you all are special to me. I just want you to know you all have a special place in my heart. All the people who didn't listen to me. But here's the thing. Now Donald Trump is talking about he doesn't want to debate until the Democratic Party have a nominee. But you agreed to two debates with the presumptive nominee before they were the nominee. That's the same status that Kamala Harris is at. She's the same nominee status. She's the same nominee. It's like I get tired of explaining to stupid people how the very system that they say they know understand works, how it works. It's like when they were making all these plans, nobody was a nominee. They were all presumptive nominees. They were all presumptive nominees. Now all of a sudden, I don't want to debate. First, it was a problem with ABC, and now you have a problem until the Democrats decide what they're going to do. The Democrats had decided what they were going to do for a change within 24 hours, and they showed you that. Yeah, I tried to tell all of you all that was saying about, oh, we don't have enough time. It'll take all this time. Yeah, you all are stupid, and you all should. Yeah, I want apologies from all of you all who were stupid. I understand I'm not gonna get it because some of y'all are gonna pretend like you all wasn't stupid, but that's all right. I still love you. But all of you all talking, well, it's not enough time. We can't do that. Hmm. Hmm. And all those people who were talking about Gen Z, when I used to tell you all that I deal with a lot of Gen Z and they're more committed to the very politic and the very political system that you all pretend like you all are committed to, they showed you. They showed up and showed out. And they're still showing up and showing out in record numbers. Yeah. Time. Time on with this is not 1924. All of you all who were talking about time, this is not 1924. There were people in our caves in Iran, just like I said they would be, talking about this decision within minutes of it being made. And I'm gonna let y'all make it. I'm gonna let y'all make it probably in about a week. I'm gonna probably talk about you all for about another week, and then we'll move on because I want you all to stop listening to people who don't know what they're talking about, trying to explain things that they don't know what they're talking about. I want you to stop listening to people right now. People are talking about and you got people like the Donald Trump campaign, and they want to file a suit or a complaint with the FCC talking about, well, Joe Biden can't just give her any money. That means you didn't know that it was the Biden Harris campaign, and she is literally on every piece of paperwork that any donation that went to the Biden Harris campaign. What do you think running mates do? What do you think running mates are for? And that's why I couldn't understand when people were telling me, "Oh, it takes too much time." What did you? What? I want somebody who told me that to explain to me what did you all mean. I want somebody to explain that, but since everybody's pretending like they didn't tell me that, because I just wanted someone to explain to me what did you mean not enough time in a information age where we basically this show right now, I'm going out worldwide. I'm going out worldwide right now. If I made an announcement on this show, people that are listening to me in Romania, for some reason, I have an audience in Romania. I don't know why. And shout out to Romania. Thank you for listening, right? I have an audience in Romania on the GCPR network. And if I said something that happened here, they know and they would know. They forgot about the divine nine. They forgot about the fact. Now, I don't think they even acknowledge the fact. It's like people right now. I was like, if you want to talk policy about Kamala Harris to me, that's one thing. But I was on that call. I was on a call with 50,000 black men on Monday. I was on a Zoom call. And like I said, it was amazing. It was amazing. I got invited at the last minute, and it was amazing. It it really showed me. And when I'm listening to black men, that we have committed to speaking out. We're not going to allow the bitchification of Kamala Harris. We're not going to allow the disrespect of her womanhood or her blackness. We're not allowing that. We will speak up, and and a lot of us cuss, and we are going to be cussing. Because if you have a policy dispute, yeah, I'm gonna deal with those too. Because most of the people talking about policies don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And people like, well, she locked up 2,000 black men for misdemeanor marijuana offenses in California. I'm gonna break that down. I got to do a video on it. Because between the years she was Attorney General in California, um, 1,974 people 1,974 people, not 2,000 black men, but 1,974 people were locked up on marijuana charges, from marijuana possession to hashish possession. I added all those together. It's 1,974 people. But you know what they didn't tell you all? That I want to know, I want somebody who's saying that to show me their stats and how they got it. Because I pulled mine from the California penal system. Yeah. And those convictions, those breakdowns don't come with race. They'll tell you gender. They'll tell you if it's male or female because they separate them into male and female prison. But they did not tell you gender. So you mean to tell me who's who's the person that thinks that all 1,974 of those arrests, and Kamala Harris was also she wasn't responsible for arresting anybody at that time. See, that tells me you don't know what the AG office is responsible for, but she didn't arrest any of those people. Those people were arrested by law enforcement, and they were tried. And Kamala Harris didn't try 1,974 cases as she was the AG. That's not what the AG does, right? But anyway, if that's the case, I want somebody to show me the breakdown and where they got it from. That it was 2,000 black. That's first. Now, uh, what I done did now. Your live is not eligible for recommendation and restricted in search results because your live does not comply with the For You feed eligibility status under our guidelines. Reasons discussing drugs or other regulated substances. So that's why you all have to follow me on other social media sites, right? And that's why you all have to, yeah, okay. That's why you all have to follow me on other social media websites. I'm on both my backup page. I'm on my backup page too, but I'm also on YouTube, Twitch, GCPR, and I will be linking in the future my Instagram and my X account. I just was running late again because I'm always running late at the last minute. I'm always running late on my. Sit down, Bella. Sit down. All right. So anyway, that's where we go. So if you don't understand that, I want that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is people talk about the history of Kamala Harris, that she's not black. Number one, Jamaican. Her father's Donald Harris. He's black. He's from Jamaica. Um, yeah, black. Blackity black, black, black. Flip flop it at it again. Oh, y'all saw Bella? Yeah, Bella's over there. She's black. You might not like it. But she is. Not only that, she went to a historically black college and university, and like someone said earlier, she pledged a black sorority, aka, as a matter of fact, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Ski Wee Sisters, and this is all it. But she was born in Oakland, California. She was born in Oakland, California. That's what people talk about. She's not black. She was born in Oakland, California, and she left there. She lived there for the first 12 years of her life. 12 years of your life. And it's like when people say, well, she's not American because her parents weren't Americans, right? That just shows me how many people have ever read the Constitution of the United States. That just shows me how much people know about people don't even know what defines you as a citizen of the United States of America. That's the sad part. That is the sad part. We're watching people saying she's not an American because her parents weren't born here. Yeah, most of y'all wouldn't be Americans if your parents had to be born here. Shut up. Number one, you better go read and learn what the 14th Amendment says and what the citizenship requirements are in this country. Because being born on this soil, yeah, you're an American. Yeah, you're an American, and especially when your parents immigrated to this country. But I digress. Then we get people who say she wasn't raised in America; she was raised in Canada because when she was 12 years old, her parents got divorced when she was 7. So her mother is a brilliant woman, a scientist in her own right. She had a research grant in Montreal, so they moved to Canada. And she lived in Canada until she graduated high school. And then her second year of college, she transferred to Howard, a historical black college university. After that, she went to the University of California, where she got a law degree. Yes, she's back in California. And in 1990, she went to work in the Alameda District Attorney's Office. But here's the thing about Kamala Harris. And if you notice, I don't shy away from my problems with Kamala Harris because I remember if you were watching me or you followed me on social media during the presidential primaries of 2019, I was not a Kamala Harris fan. And I said why. It was none of those reasons. I didn't like her stance on truancy. And it wasn't even that she wrote the law on truancy. She just enforced it because California had put in place a truancy law where they were going to go after parents. And my problem was that what do truancy laws that go after parent affect the most? They affects black and brown communities because normally our parents have to be at work or getting up going to work at 5:30 in the morning before we have to get up and be at school. So yes, some kids would play hooky, and I just felt like we should create more environment to get children to school by having either some kind of system where parents did not have to be at work at 5:30 in the morning so they can get their kids. If you're going to make parents responsible for getting their kids to school, then you should make a system in which that is possible and not punish them. That was my problem, and I stated that succinctly then. Um, but a lot of this now is built into racism and misogyny because it's not about what actual policy differences. It's about rooted in her blackness and her womanhood. So we are not going to allow it. So anybody want to ask me a question about something like the guy who tried to tie Kamala Harris to Oscar Grant's story? And if you all remember Oscar Grant, he was in Oakland, California in 2009, and he was shot by the police officer. Fruiton Station is Fruitville Station. Fruitville Station is based on it. Michael B. Jordan played Oscar Grant in the movie. And the guy was saying that Kamala Harris was part of the reason why the cop got off. Number one, Kamala Harris was a prosecutor. All right, she was not even the district attorney at the time that happened in Alameda County because unless you lived in a large city, I guess I thought everybody knew this. Large cities like metropolitan areas like San Francisco, New York, Atlanta, they cover more than one county, and each county has their own district attorney. Alameda is the Oakland area, but at the time, Kamala Harris had become district attorney of the San Francisco County District Attorney's Office. So, yeah, Yeah, that was crazy. So when I get him straight, he goes and moves the goalpost. He goes and moves the goalpost and pretend like, well, yeah, I really, but she's a black woman. And I was like, yep, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Just like Charleston White, we're not doing it. So, but I want you all to listen to something. I have something I want you all to listen to. And this is going to be JD Vance. I'm about to play JD Vance for you. And I want you to listen to what he's saying. And I want you to think about what he's saying. JD Vance is the Republican nominee for vice president. This is JD Vance, hillbilly effigy. And I'm going to get into that later. We can talk about that also. But I want you to listen to what he had to say, and I want your feedback on what he's about to say. Let's get it.
When you go to the polls in this country as a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Let's face the consequences and the reality. If you don't have as much of an investment in the future of this country, maybe you shouldn't get nearly the same voice. Now, people will say, and I'm sure the Atlantic and the Washington Post and all the usual suspects will criticize me about this in the coming days. Well, doesn't this mean that non-parents don't have as much of a voice as parents? Doesn't this mean that parents get a bigger say in how our democracy functions? Yes, absolutely.
Did y'all hear that? I see someone said they don't like him because of his wife. No, they love JD Harris. They love JD Vance. They figure he conquered his wife, and that's a whole nother conversation. But did you hear what he just said, right? He just said that in this country, you should have more rights and privileges if you have children than if you don't. This is the same party that shut, because of them, in vitro fertilization was shut down in Alabama for a month. This is the same party who will turn around and say they want to cut SNAP benefits to mothers because they don't feel like they need as much. Yeah, this is what it said. This your man's Republican. This is your man's. The man's who said that in our democracy, rights and privilege should be based more upon your ability to have children. No, not your ability to have. You must have children. How many women out there are going to be offended by the idea that this is stance when they have been trying for years to get pregnant, but he's a loser candidate. He will lose the election to Harris. Um, I don't care who they run; they should lose at this point because it's not. This is who they back. This is who they back. They backed a man who wrote a whole ass book about his life called Hillbilly Elegy that was turned into a movie. And then at the Legion of Doom convention or the Republican National Convention, whichever you all call it, what y'all call it, I call it what I call it. And then I'm also the Democratic National Convention will be the Super Friends National Convention also. So when I say Super Friends National Convention, you all know what I'm talking about. So at the Legion of Doom National Convention, this man took to the stage and said, because the xenophobia is running wild in the Republican Party. So he took to the stage and said that the story of immigration in this country and drugs is a personal story for him because his mother was a victim of the drug abuse caused by fentanyl coming over the border carried by undocumented work. He calls them illegal aliens, undocumented migrants, right? But here's the thing. JD Vance is 39 years old. So at the time that he gave that speech, do the math with me, his mother had been sober for 10 years. His mother has been clean and sober since 2014. Now, J.D. Vance went to live with his grandmother because of his mother's drug addiction and her parade of various men in and out the house when he was 9 years old, 9 or 10, one of them. 9 or 10 years old, right? That's when he went to. That's when she went to live. So J.D. Vance wants us to go back 30 years And somehow his mother's drug addiction was based upon the fact that undocumented workers, undocumented immigrants were bringing drugs into the country across the border then. Whose fault was that? But see, that's not even that. I'm not even going to entertain that because in his book, we know that his mother was addicted to prescription pills that she was stealing from her clients because she was a registered nurse. Someone make it make sense. But this man got on there with his full chest at the Republican National Convention and tried to tie his mother's drug addiction to undocumented immigrants coming across the border 30 years ago. Y'all understand? But I'm gonna tell you this. Also, it was funny to me. It was funny because the Legion of Doom convention. It was funny. I watched the whole thing, and it was funny. But the funnier part to me was when his wife introduced him. See, the Democratic convention's tone, the Republican National Convention's tone was all this bravado and hypeness and everything, right? One of the lowest tone points in the Legion of Doom convention is when Ursula walked across that stage to introduce her husband, and she darkened in Kamala Harris. I was done. I laughed so hard at the response to this beautiful brown woman coming on this stage and introducing JD Vance as her husband. And it was like, you ever been in somewhere and it took a crescendo to get somewhere that it had already been? So it was like, I guess it was like you could see, it was so funny. Watching the clapping. They did, and by the time she got to him, they were clapping again. But it was so funny watching the crescendo. It was because all these all these mediocre white people in the audience, and you watch it. Oh, it was funny. They did not expect that. See, all the Rocket Raccoons they had paraded out there, they were fine with them because they were there to kowtow to Donald Trump. Tim Scott, Ben Carson, um, Amber Rose, um, even brown people like Marco Rubio, they were kowtowing, or other Asian Indian women like Nikki Haley. Because I tell people the Legion of Doom convention was basically the submission to Donald Trump convention, and that's what every speech was about. All his political rivals came out there, except people like Liz Cheney was not there. Um, Jeff Duncan was not there. The former governor of Georgia was not there. Liz Cheney wasn't there. Christie, Chris Christie was not there. Chris Christie refused to kowtow to Trump. Chris Christie was the only Republican that was in the Republican National Convention, in the primaries that did not ever endorse. When he said he was a never Trumper, he meant that from the time he said it and still standing on it. Liz Cheney, same way. Adam Kinzinger, same way. I think the Democrats should have a couple of hours during the Super Friends National Convention in August. So it kicks off August 19th in Chicago, by the way. They should have a few moments where they have all of the never Republicans and let them speak. I tell you, someone needs to let me strategize the Super Friends convention because we can move. I could move them from being just Super Friends to at least being the Justice League. See, right now they're still the Super Friends, but I could move them with a strategy to being the Justice League to take on the Legion of Doom. Yeah, that would be much better. But that would have a high point. If you get Liz Cheney, can you imagine Liz Cheney? Dick Cheney's daughter, a Republican, an old school Republican on the Democratic National Convention stage, talking about she's going to support Kamala Harris. You remember Jeff Duncan has already come out and said he's supporting Kamala Harris. Can you imagine these old school Republicans coming out and giving their support to Kamala Harris at the Democratic National Convention. And energy, energy. Yes, super friends. Excuse me, it's 24 people in this live. Come on, y'all. Yeah, y'all get to. I appreciate all of that. Um, can you mention that? Welcome, Petra. I see you. Welcome, welcome. Can you imagine that? Can, that would be a sight to see. That if we could see that, and I think that would send a message. That would send a message because there's a lot. They have Republicans. I know a lot of y'all are not on X like I'm on X. I troll. I troll. My my sincere purpose of being on X is to troll MAGA supporters. Troll MAGA supporters. That's my sincere purpose of being on X. And there's a group called Republicans Against Trump. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know they got over 100,000 followers. Of course, you all know that after Nikki Haley dropped out of the race, one of her super PACs pledged their commitment to Joe Biden. And a lot of people didn't understand because they were saying that Nikki Haley's super PAC has switched over to Kamala Harris. It has, but it been switched over to the Democrats once Nikki Haley dropped out. So it's not new or something. They had already said they were going to support the Democratic candidate regardless. They just switched from Joe Biden to Haley, to Kamala Harris. Also, I see people don't know how election campaign works when it comes to donations. People are donating their money and don't understand how it works. You all do understand when you all are getting into these discussions with people talking about nobody voted for Kamala Harris to be on the ticket or be the nominee. Well, number one, she secured more than 3,000 Democratic delegates promise a vote in the 19th. So she is the presumptive nominee. She only needed 1976, and she's already secured 3,004 the last time I checked. It's probably more than that now. But she did that within 24 hours, 48 hours. She had secured that. So she's the presumptive nominee, and nobody that you all were talking about that would. And that's another thing I said. I said, nobody y'all talking about is going to poll better than Kamala Harris against Donald Trump. And those people knew that. They understood that. That's why they endorsed her. People like Hillary's going to run. Hillary and Bill were one of the first people to come out and endorse Kamala Harris. Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmore, Josh Shapiro, Roy Cooper, Andy Bashir. All these people that you all are saying that Mark Kelly, who I hope becomes vice president. Mark Kelly is a good choice only because number one, his wife is Kathy Gifford, and she's a staunch advocate because she was shot, and her recovery has been amazing, and she's a staunch advocate for gun control, and she's the living embodiment of a jinx epoch against somebody getting struck in the ear by shrapnel, and someone actually being shot by an attempted assassination attempt. And also, Mark Kelly is from Arizona. He's an Arizona Democrat. And add on top of that, Mark Kelly has been to space. Mark Kelly is an astronaut. Yes, he's an astronaut. So, who didn't want to be an astronaut? I actually wanted to send people to space, usually by kicking their asses into orbit. But like I say, those are all the things working out. I think he would make a good one. Of course, Josh Shapiro. You get the governor of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is a state that's needed in the election. Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom run later because we really don't need Gavin Newsom as vice president because if a Democrat loses California, they're not going to be president anyway. If a Democrat is in trouble in California, you're not going to win the presidency anyway. So that Gavin, we appreciate it. We don't need you. I don't really like Gavin Newsom, by the way, because I don't like the way he's handled the homeless problem in California. But anyway, who has it? Gretchen Whitmore. Michigan is an important state. Um, but I think we're pushing this country's borders, boundaries a lot already. Pete Buttigieg, I was watching some footage of Pete Buttigieg. He's a good debater. He's a great debater, and I think he would. But it's the thing: anybody in the Democratic bench that they pull up to be vice president can literally walk the dog with J.D. Vance. Literally, from Andy Bashir, Joe to Mark Kelly to Josh Shapiro, Roy Cooper, Gretchen Whitmore, Gavin Newsom, any of them, could literally walk the dog with JD Vance. And let me say this also. I wouldn't even need Kamala Harris could go out and debate JD. They could put both of them on the stage at the same time. JD Vance and Trump. And you know what? Tell them to bring whoever you want to pick for any other. You could bring a third party. Bring your own third party, right? And Kamala Harris would mop the floor with all three of them. You could even go get their best and most intellect. They can go get their best intellect. Somebody like, I think their best intellect is in prison right now. But hey, we let him out of prison right now, because even though Steve Bannon is bastard, people don't realize Steve Bannon is highly intelligent. But even with him, she would mop the floor with all three of them simultaneously. What happened to Bernie Sanders? The same thing. Bernie Sanders was my choice at first in 2019, and Bernie Sanders was well on the way to becoming the nominee for the Democratic Party until they did what they did at South Carolina, and the old school Democratic Party coalesced around Joe Biden because Bernie Sanders represented too much of a disruption to the system. That is just what happened. Like it or not, is what happened. But at this point, Bernie knows that that ship has sailed. Bernie is taking his time now to cultivate the next wave of progressive Democrats, is social Democrats. That's what he's doing. And AOC and Jamalapal, he's taking his time to cultivate that, which Democrats should be cultivating, like Joe Biden said he was going to do in 2020 when he did get our support, because we realized when we said no Trump, we meant no Trump. So even when we coalesced around him after the primary in South Carolina, that's what we got. And the trade-off was he said he was going to be a transitional candidate, and he picked up Kamala Harris. Now, having said all that, I understand the system. I understand the system. I talk about it constantly. There's nothing I say now that I haven't said before. People that wasn't willing to listen then. I've had people get mad at me and don't talk to me anymore because I was right. I was right, and you mad at me for being right, and this is the way it turns out. It's turning out that what you all were missing was that you all did not have an important factor, a lot of important factors, riding with Joe Biden. There were a lot of us who did remember him saying he was a transitional figure. There are a lot of us who remembered everything we were promised to support him then that we wasn't getting in the last 4 years. And I'm talking about transitional candidates. And you all should have been having this conversation a year ago. You should have been having this conversation after the withdrawal from Afghanistan. I've said that over and over again. This conversation should have been had when because it amazes me now, the same polls that you all didn't like that was showing Joe Biden losing the election, now all of a sudden I can't get people to stop quoting them to me like I'm not looking at them, but I'm also still getting polling that you all are not getting that the White House is doing. Yes, the White House also conducts its own polls. And those are the polls that I really look at, and I average those into the polls you're talking about. But now that those same polls, what happened? Y'all like the polls now that they show that Kamala Harris has made great strides to get back. See, this is the thing. Kamala Harris is right now, in the last 72 hours, since her a campaign has been announced since Sunday, and in those 4 days, she has gotten back to where the Democrats usually are in terms of support amongst their key demographics. She outscores Joe Biden and black people, attracting black people. She outscores Joe Biden in attracting young people. She outscores Joe Biden in attracting women. Of course, she trails Joe Biden in attracting white men, but hey, can who's surprised? Wasn't surprised by that. We were not surprised by that. Mediocre white men are in favor of the patriarchy no matter what, because Donald Trump represents a strong man to them, because that's what weak men think a strong man looks like. Yeah, that's what they think. So, so it's a clip. I always have clips for y'all I want to play, right? There's a clip I want to play for you all um, about by Gerald Ford. And Gerald Ford was asked, this little girl asked Gerald Ford about what it would take. She was like, what will it take to have a woman president, right? And Gerald Ford answered the question for her. And it was, and his ending of it, let's see if I can find it. Now, how, hold on. Gerald Ford said this, and the ending of it really struck me because he said something that really is on the hearts and mind of a lot of white men now. Let's listen.
Wanting to
Now,
become president of Mr. Ford, what advice would you give a young lady wanting to become president of the United States?
can y'all
Well,
hear
I
this?
hope we do have a young lady at some point become president of the United States. I can tell you how I think it will happen, because it won't happen in the normal course of events. Either the Republican or Democrat political party will nominate a man for president and a woman for vice president. And the woman and man will win. So you'll end up with a president, a male, and a vice president, a female. And in that term of office of the president will die. And the woman will become president under the law or constitution. And once that barrier is broken, from then on, men better be careful, because they'll have a hard time ever even getting a nomination in the future. But that's the way it's going to happen.
Mr. Ford.
Gerald Ford, 1989. That's what he said. And it is so interesting watching that play out. The president didn't literally die, but it's almost, it's just like he said. First, you would have to have a woman vice president, and if she became president. And it's so valid. And it explains the fear you see in mediocre white men right now, because they have held that office 46 out of 47 white men. 49 vice presidents, and 48 of them have been white men. And now you're standing on the cusp of watching the first black woman. This is as close as we've ever been. And it's something about when black women break a ceiling, they never look back. It might take them a lot to break that ceiling. But once they do, oh, you don't look back. And that's what they're trying to stop. That is what, see, before, this is the extra layer to this election that has been added and is playing out. People talking about democracy was in jeopardy. now not only is democracy in jeopardy in a way that you know it, but for them, they're going to fight just as hard because the patriarchy is now in jeopardy. The patriarchy is now in jeopardy. And that's what they don't like. And this is why I get on people. And I tell you all, when y'all come in here, or you're coming to my space and you're talking about, well, I'm not voting for this, and she met with Benjamin Netanyahu, and I don't like the stance on this. And all of a sudden, the same people who have voted for the lesser of two evils in every election they have voted in, and they have acknowledged they have voted for the lesser of two evils. Now all of a sudden they want to grow a moral compass when the lesser of two evils is a black woman. When the lesser of two evils is a black woman, now you got all kinds of, well, we could do, or I got this third party candidate over here. Hold on, and that's another thing. Let's talk about your third party candidates. Hold on. The best third party candidate y'all got in the, I want you all to listen to this. Is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And this is him talking. This is him talking um, after Kamala Harris has been announced as the presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party. Listen to this. This is not edited. This is straight Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This is why his own family doesn't endorse him. Listen up.
On the Republican side, President Biden promised the last time around that he was going to drain the swamp, doing and President Biden said the attempted assassination. If President Biden gets elected, it's going to become more toxic.
A lot on President Biden, but he's announced for hours now that he's out. Were you just confused, or have you moved on from it? It stood out.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you all very much for coming out here on a Sunday.
Did you all hear that? Was it too low, or did you all hear it? Did you hear him struggle? That he didn't know. Oh, you didn't hear it? You need me to play it again? You need me to turn it up some and play it again? Did you hear that? He was confused. No, that had nothing to do with the sound, Thug nephew. That was how he said it. That's how he said it. It wasn't the sound editing. It wasn't anything. It was okay. I don't mind. I want you all to really hear this. Hold on. Let's get this. Let's get this. I want you all to real. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. This is he that his family does not even support. Hold on.
On the Republican side, President Biden promised last time around that he was going to drain the swamp, and President Biden said the attempted assassination. If President Biden gets elected, it's going to become more toxic.
A lot on President Biden, but he's announced for hours now that he's out. Were you just confused, or have you moved on from it? It stood out.
Oh, I'm good. Thank you all very much for coming out here on a Sunday.
Did you hear it that time? I mean, I could show it to the people watching me on social media, but did you hear it that time? Yes, that is R.F. Kennedy. That is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And that is him after it was announced that Kamala Harris would be the presumptive nominee. And I say the presumptive nominee because she got enough delegates committed to her to be the presumptive nominee. She got just as many delegates as she needs to be the presumptive nominee. Because it amazed me that people didn't know what presumptive nominee actually didn't mean nominee until after the convention. So she's the presumptive nominee, just like Joe Biden was the presumptive nominee. But here's the thing, and I also feel good. I talked about brokered elections, brokered conventions, and I said the history of this was the last time a true brokered convention happened was in Chicago at the 1952 Justice League. They were not the Justice League. They have never been the Justice League. They have always been, at best, the Super Friends. The last Democratic National Convention was in Chicago, and it's history that this year, again, we're going into, even though this brokered convention is, I'm gonna pat myself on the back. Sorry, I know it's a little petty, but I'm patting myself on the back for calling this correctly after the election, after the debate. Yeah, yeah, I think I'll go on CNN the next time they get a TikTok influencer on CNN and don't know what they were talking about. I'm going. Yeah, I'm gonna answer this call. I usually turn those things down. I had a invitation to be in Washington with the rest of those influencers you saw. I was like, no, because Cory Booker going to be there, and I know Cory Booker, and I knew he was going to do something crazy, so I turned that down anyway. And I usually turn down those things because I think, yeah, if I want to meet one of the influencers, I usually do on my own. I don't wait for events like that because then they think you're beholden to say something nice about them, and I still cuss, and they don't want me cussing around these places, right? Because I would still be cussing. But I gotta be dumb to vote for RFK. You gotta be crazy at this point to think that somehow a third party candidate is going to do something that no third party candidate has done in the history of this country. Win an electoral college vote. What third party candidate do you all think is gonna win an electoral college vote? Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Y'all support third party candidates and I'd be like looking at you all. Because someone tried to draft me to support a third party candidate, and I was like, I already knew unless they're gonna make me chief. Even if they make me chief of, I'll be my secretary cabinet post would be defense. Even if they make me that, it's not like we're gonna win, so I can do anything I want to or say anything I want to. It's not gonna happen. This is not going to happen until you all do what we talk about and dismantle the system. None of those wishful thinking ideas you have are going to work. And if I dismantle the system, I'm not replacing it with democracy. Just thought I'd let you all know that too. Democracy is not the system that I will replace it with because I understand democracy better than the people who claim they are fighting to save it. Yeah, I'm fighting to save it so we can overturn it in its present stage. But a lot of people don't know. People are showing me they don't know how the electoral college work. They've shown me they don't know how why we have people have shown me that they don't understand that a party does not even need a convention to nominate their candidate. This is not constitutional. This is just window dressing. A party does not. If a party decides, that's why I was looking at the Trump and them talking about they're going to sue because the Democratic Party has did it this way. It's sue away. It's no. This is just a formality. That's why they can have them in sliding times of the year. You know, people like, well, my vote didn't count. I voted in the primary for Biden, and now they're just going to give it to Kamala Harris. If you voted for Biden in the primary, you voted for Biden-Harris ticket. You voted for the Biden-Harris ticket. What did you think the ticket had two people on it for? In case one decided to drop out, you had another one. If Biden would have died on the election trail, it's still the finances are linked because her name is on everything because it has to be. That's what your running mate is for. Once you choose them and put them on your finance, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm going out on another limb because there's a possibility that J.D. Vance might not make it to the November 6th election on the Republican ticket. I said it. I said it. Yeah, I said it. That's a possibility. Yep, they're unhinged and melting down as usual. Yep, don't hate the messenger. Hey. But I see that as a possibility. J.D. Vance is, I think, and I'm going to tell you, we got a different Trump for about 10 minutes in his opening speech at the Legion of Doom convention. And everybody was going around here. Y'all were turning down the rhetoric and trying to be kumbaya-ish and nicer, fuzzier, warmer. And they were like, but Donald Trump is going to give a speech that is about unifying the country. He's had this epiphany. He's talking, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Georgia, governor of Arkansas, came out there and said, God saved Trump because he wasn't through with him, but he let the kids at Uvalde die because he was just through with kids. Yeah, every mass school shooting in history where kids die, he didn't care about them, but he cared about a 78-year-old billionaire named Donald Trump, and that's when he intervenes. Yeah. Okay, I got 4 more minutes. Hey, on GCPR land, we got about 4 more minutes, and then we're going to be cutting out, and you all going to have to join us on the social media platforms. Thank you, Olivia. She keeps me up on the time because you all know I will get on a soapbox, and it'll be 20 minutes after it. I'll be forgot. I'm supposed to be logged off the radio station. Yeah. So, yeah, we got that, and now it was never it was always business as usual for the Republicans. This is weak ass Democrats we're gonna tone down. We didn't start the rhetoric. Y'all coming up with all these conspiracy theories instead of just saying we were told was true, that a 20-year-old registered Republican attempted to kill the nominee for the Republican national ticket for president. Yeah, 20-year-old Trumpican. Yeah, that's what I heard. No registered Democrat tried to kill him. That was a registered Republican that had MAGA, MAGA signs in their yard, that was actually using a gun that Democrats have tried to ban. Same gun that God protected Trump from some shrapnel. That's another thing I have to say. So Charles Ray, I'm gonna start that when y'all come over and listen to me over here if y'all want to hear about it. I'm gonna start that because y'all not gonna get to hear it in GCPR if I start it now. Anyway, but I'll give you this much. Charles Ray is the director of the FBI, and he was testifying at the same hearing where the Democrats united with the Republicans to ask for the Secret Service director, Kimberly Cheadle, to resign. That was a weak ass move by Democrats to join the Republicans and calling for her to resign. And the Democrats didn't join with you all to have anything like to do anything at the border. But all of a sudden, Kimberly Cheadle wasn't there. She didn't come up with the plans for these rallies that Trump had been going to. She didn't do any of that. Yeah, and I understand they say the buck stopped here, but the buck should have stopped a long way down from her. She's just the director of the Secret Service. She has more jobs than just looking out for the life of President Trump, who's not the president. Right? He had a detail. His detail failed him. She didn't even assign them. They were assigned by other people prior to that. And when the Democrats joined in the resolution calling for her to resign, that was just a weak ass move. Because no one came to her and yeah. Hold on just a minute, y'all. What's up? Thank you if you were listening to me on the GCPR network across the country, across the world. I appreciate it. If you want to catch up with this conversation in our overtime, come join me on any of my social media platforms. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Twitch. You can find me on YouTube. And hey, come join the conversation. And I'll see you all for tomorrow night's program at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and conversation with TNathan. All right, peace. We out of here. All right, you all. Back to you all. So let's hear. Say, I'd be on it for you all.
On the Republican side, President Biden promised.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you right now. Candace Owens needs to be cussed out, but all right, now.
Oh, it's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that
There we go. Now we're gonna listen to You know what? I'm off the radio now. Hold on, let me see. Bum, 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 bum. Hold on. Move this out the way. Dun, 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 dun. That's the good thing. Mm-mm. Well, I'm gonna listen to Christopher Ray. He's the director of FBI, and what he had to say about
There's some question about whether or not
about Donald Trump because they have recovered every bullet, every bullet associated with Matthew Crooks, the registered Republican that attempted to assassinate the party's nominee for president. They recovered every bullet. Let's listen to what Christopher Wray had to say in that same hearing. All right, let's get it.
I think with respect to former President Trump, um, there's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now, I don't know whether that bullet, in addition to causing the grazing, could have also landed somewhere else. But I believe we've accounted for all of the shots in the cartridges. So let us. I think with respect to former President Trump.
Get that?
There's some question about whether or not it's a bullet or shrapnel that that hit his ear. So it's conceivable. Although, as I sit here right now.
So no conspiracy theories because we know that Thomas Matthew Crooks is the one who attempted to assassinate Donald Trump. But what he's saying is what I said the first time too, is that and yeah, and y'all stop showing the ketchup package video clip that's AI generated altered clip. Stop looking for conspiracy theories. Donald Trump did not plan this. Thomas Matthew Crooks did. He just missed. And the the FBI director, Christopher Wray, is telling you that the FBI has recovered every bullet that was shot. And you also know that the FBI would have a sample of Donald Trump's DNA. He's the president. They would have a sample of that to compare any blood on any bullets they have. So if they had already found Donald Trump's blood on one of those bullets that projectiles that they had, Christopher Wray wouldn't have said that. He wouldn't have said that, we need the former president to provide some information. And the only kind of information you could provide is, medical reports, or a doctor would tell you that, hey, yeah, he was struck with a bullet because there's um, grazing consistent with a high powered round striking the ear. See, I feel, and I realized something that I didn't understand people who didn't shoot weapons or been shot by a gun before didn't realize. You all don't know what hydrostatic shock is. Yeah, people don't know what hydrostatic shock is. I'm listening to people who failed math and science try to explain to somebody who's been shot and didn't fail math and science and also knows how to fire a gun and rounds what hydrostatic shock is. So and I said from the beginning I didn't believe he got hit with a bullet. I could be wrong. Hey, I could be wrong. That's a 9% chance I'm wrong. I said it was glass from the teleprompter, but didn't stop the fact that I still don't believe, by the evidence presented, that he planned this. No, Thomas Matthew Crooks planned to kill the nominee for the president of the Republican Party, the party he is a part of. We'll stop. But having said that, we haven't determined if he was struck by a bullet. His son Eric said that he didn't need stitches. He didn't need stitches. Hydrostatic shock. Y'all need to look it up and see what is hydrostatic shock and how is it associated with bullet wounds. even grazing bullet wounds, especially from something like an AK-15, AR-15, the grazing would set up hydrostatic shock. All right, so y'all look that up. All right, let me see. So that's what the FBI director had to say. Now I want you all to listen to someone at the studio because basically I can't see Kamala Harris. I mean, I can't see this weak ass.
Are mistakes that police officers are human beings. Of course, as
I can't see her videos on her page because she blocked me, so I had to get this one from someone else, Petra. So now I want you all to about what I am going to, my next project is on X, is to rip Candace Owens a new one. Even though I've ripped her enough new ones that she has blocked me, I'm going to rip her. The ER said it was a scratch and no stitches were required. He was on TV. Right, I know, but I'm saying I want that scratch known to have been being caused by shrapnel, glass shrapnel, or some other shrapnel, and not a bullet. But anyway, I want you all to listen to Candace Owens. The next video I'm about to play is Candace Owens. And she has weighed into the conversation about Sonia Massey. This is why I'm going to be on Candace Owens in just a little while after I get off here.
Of course, as I have said since the beginning of time, there are mistakes that police officers are human beings. There are mistakes that happen, and the idea that now you're going to use this situation and all the usual suspects are already involved, we know that Attorney Crump is already involved, to then try to make Black Americans believe that this happened simply because she was Black is pointedly ridiculous. So I am saying to Black Americans today, do not take this bait. Yes, what happened in this situation, I think he's going to have a very hard time, this officer, saying that he absolutely felt so threatened by boiling water that the only solution was for him to mindfully say, I'm going to shoot you in the face, and that's what he did. I think that's going to be a very steep hill to climb. But the reaction from Black America cannot be exactly what they want. There is a reason that whoever is in control of Joe Biden's account instantly tweeted about this, okay? It's because they think we're stupid. They think we're emotional. They think that we always respond illogically and emotionally, and that it's an easy way for them to shore up votes by saying, oh, look, forget that we've destroyed everything around you and that we got you to burn down your neighborhoods, burn down your neighborhoods in 2020. And then obviously stole a bunch of money because none of that money actually went to making your neighborhoods better. And so now those communities are desolate. Forget all of that because look, another video. And this means racism is back and vote for us because we're going to show you how emotional we are. And that's exactly what Joe Biden did. He tweeted this on the heels. He wrote, Sonia Massey, a beloved mother, friend, daughter, and young Black woman should be alive today. Sonia's death at the hands of a police officer reminds us that all too often Black Americans face fears for their safety in ways many of the rest of us do not. Sonia's family deserves justice. I am heartbroken for her children and family as they face this unthinkable and senseless loss. Jill and I mourn with the rest of the country, and our prayers are with Sonia's families, loved ones, and community during this devastating time. Okay, again, going to say here, this happened in Springfield, Illinois, that the only reason whoever is in control of his account is putting that out there is because too many Black Americans are turning toward Trump. They think too many Black Americans are catching on to the Democrat scam, and so they scan every one of these situations and they leave out the hard facts. And the hard facts are that if you examine this just based on a percentage rate, white Americans unarmed are more likely to be shot and killed by police officers in mistakes, shot and killed by police officers in these correspondences than Black Americans. That is a fact. It is an inescapable fact. There's no way to examine the statistics and not come out with that understanding, okay? And they don't want you to know that. There's never been a time ever on his timeline where he has shared anything about a white person being killed unarmed by a police officer because it doesn't feed their narrative. So stand up to this, okay? And all you have to do is be mentally
I want you all to listen to how she closes.
forthright. Do not fall for the scam. Do not run out of your house. Do not burn down your neighborhood in Springfield, Massachusetts. Instead,
did you all hear what she just said? Did you just hear what she said? What neighborhood not to burn down? Hold on, y'all didn't hear. Let's go back. I want you all to hear this. Sonia Massey Sonia Massey was murdered in Springfield, Illinois. Listen to what she says.
Do not burn down your neighborhood in Springfield, Massachusetts. Instead, demand that Joe Biden make an appearance and let us know who has been in control of the White House all of this time, because that is what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a red herring. Of course, as
Candace Owens doesn't care about Black people or Sonia Massey. You don't care enough to even get the city rights or to go back and re-record that section of your podcast to at least make sure you tell it. Yeah, we're not going to burn down Springfield, Massachusetts. It didn't happen in Springfield, Massachusetts. It didn't happen in Springfield, Massachusetts. It happened in Sangamon County, Illinois, outside of Springfield, Massachusetts. So Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Jones. We got a thing going on. Yeah, got to be extra careful. All right. So that's what I'm about to get up to. I'm about to drag Candace Owens, and then I have to get to some other. I need to do some reading. Need to do some reading, catch up readings. I'm going to drag Candace Owens while I'm listening to a new book, and then I fall asleep, and then I'll start it all over in a couple of hours. But any questions for me before I leave? Anything anybody wants me to clarify or talk about before I leave that I haven't covered today's recap? Tomorrow, more the same. We'll be recapping anything that happens in between now and then. And I might talk about my movie experience because, the nerd in me wants to go see Wolverine and Deadpool. So it opened today. I know I couldn't go see it today. And yeah, broke. So can't see it today. But I want to see Wolverine and Deadpool. All right. So, dun, dun, dun. Remember that the Supreme Court has made it illegal for those who have to be homeless to sleep in public in your area. Y'all look into what's going on in your area and see. I'm going into my morning. My Marvel girlfriend is taking me. You got a Marvel girlfriend? Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. I don't think, I'm trying to think, have we been to a Marvel movie together? I know she doesn't like, I don't think she likes Marvel movies, but I don't think we've been to a Marvel movie together. I know, have we been to a Marvel? We went to see The Color Purple together. We see all those. I went to see, I cry in movies. Yeah, I cry in movies. So, yeah. That's why I haven't watched In and Out 2, because I'll probably be crying. So probably I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I got it. I just haven't watched it yet. But yeah, I'm gonna have to check. I don't think we have gone to a Marvel movie. I don't think we even watched Marvel. I don't think she likes Marvel movies. Yeah, she likes romantic. I told her we need to find a romantic action thriller, something like that. But my Marvel girlfriend and I have seen all of Marvel opening days since Winter Soldier. Okay. Well, I'm a black man at a movie. I'm used to going to movies with lots of black people. And so we talk. We talk at the screen. I'll be like you looking at your phone. Yeah, I'm one of those people. That's why I have to sit way in the back too. Because if you go and you don't want, but we look at if the movie hadn't started on the screen, we don't care what you're doing. You could get up and be boxing until the movie starts. Just better sit your ass down by the time the movie starts. And you better talk at the same sections we talk at. We talk, we clap, all that. So I have to sit in the back. I live in Kansas now. And unless I want to fight my way out of a movie theater, I have to sit up because they get sensitive when you on your phone before the movie start. Ain't nobody gonna be on the phone when the movie start. Pay too much. I didn't pay money to see the movie, not the previews of next movies. I can watch them online. And then you got a ooh, ah, clap. Yeah, y'all know. You know, that's what I need to do a show. The difference between when black people go somewhere and white people go somewhere and talk about the jinxie pots of the two. Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's it. Like we Bernie Mac. We go movie. I hope a motherfucker is sitting in my seat. Yeah, I looked at that seat when I scheduled it. All right. All right, y'all. We're gonna get out of here. Peace, love, and hair grease. And I will see you in the usual places. To all of you all who know, everybody who has my number, send me stuff. I'll get around to it. I've been meaning to tell you, just because I don't get to it instantly doesn't mean I don't see it. That just means I'm busy. Well, that was Cedric. Cedric said that he hoped somebody. I thought it was Bernie. But all right, Cedric said it. Yeah, whoever. Yeah, I wish a motherfucker would. But we're gonna be out of here, and I'll holler at you all later. And make sure you all